Hello, hello, happy Motivational Monday. My name is Kira. I am your host, and I am so excited to be here with you. Have you guys seen the TikTok trend where it's like a couple or a friend, and the person is sharing something really cool, and their partner's behind them, and they're like, "Yo, you better say it's cool. You better tell them it's amazing." So that's kind of the energy I hope you bring to today of like, I'm happy to be here. I hope you're happy to be here too, especially after a week of not seeing each other. Did you all miss us last week? I missed you. So I'm really excited. Obviously, we have Tatiana here. Some of you have met her before if you've been on our Connect series. Some of you may not have met her before if you only join our Motivational Mondays. But before we dive in, I got news. I've got announcements. I've got things to say because we're in a whole new season. First and foremost, we are on season 4, which means that we have been doing this for over 9 months, Motivational Monday. And a lot of you have been here since day one. I'm actually really curious. Who's new? Drop 111 in the chat if this is your first time connecting with us with life guides, or drop 222 in the chat if you've been here for a while. You're a fan. You love it. Gabrielle dropped 222 in the chat before she even knew what I was saying. She's like, I know what you're doing, Kira. I've been here. So welcome back to all of you who are back here. I see a few new names. Caitlin, Ashley, we're so happy to have you. Patricia, yay, welcome. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Okay, cool. Well, I'm super excited to have you here. Also, bonus question just for fun. Drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. I know a lot of you are from Arizona. It's actually wild. Tatiana and I live an hour away from each other. She's in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm on a lake an hour away in Nebo, North Carolina. No one knows it. It's an unincorporated community. We have less than 3,000 people. It's teeny tiny, but it's beautiful. Oh my God, look at us. We're everywhere. We're too cool. Look at how powerful we are. South Dakota, Indianapolis, Arizona, I told you. Arizona, 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 Maine, DC. Fun. Okay, cool. So I sent you all an email last week with a really cool app to start to develop your emotional intelligence, which is probably going to help you during this season as well, because last season was all about well-being in general. So it was our Rooted in Wellbeing series, and every event that we did, whether it was Life Guides Connect or Motivational Monday, was focused on your well-being. April was physical well being, and 85% of you in the month of April saw an increase in your physical well being due to the programming that we had. And I want to say this, it's not just because of the programming that we had and the cool conversations that we get to have with you. It's because you all are doing the work in conjunction with what we are teaching you and what we're educating you with. So, big round of applause to you for showing up, putting in the work, and becoming a more fulfilled, more whole, more well version of you, because that really, really matters. And what's even wilder is 90% of you saw an increase in your mental well being during our mental well being month in May, which is even so much more exciting. And then did I say 90 of you or 90% of you? I meant to say 90% of you, but who knows? Um, and then I have a survey that I'm putting up now for our emotional well-being series. So if, for those of you who were here for emotional well-being, it's a quick poll, but I use these results for a lot of different things. One, to show that we're doing work that actually matters, and two, we use it in sales things. We talk to the main people in your organizations and we're like, hey, this is what your people are going through. We never use your name in anything. We don't really have that information anyway, but we say, hey, there are people in your organization who are benefiting from this. And again, it would be really cool. I mean, I could talk to Tatiana about today's session is about you don't have to believe everything you think, and it's about the inner dialogue and self-boundaries and what our brain tells us versus what is actually true. Tatiana and I can have this conversation for hours and have a great time, but the fact that we get to have it with you and support you on your journey is even more fun. So, oh my gosh. Okay, you guys are filling out the survey. I'll give you a minute or two more. I've got one more announcement. I have a survey that we do at the end of this. Every time when you close out of the session, a survey pops up and it asks you all these questions. And one of the questions is, have you used the Life Guide service for a guide? So for those of you who don't know what Life Guides is, not only do we have these cool events where you're able to come and be a part of a larger community that's focused on their growth and well-being, we also have our one-on-one guide sessions where all of the conversations we have here and all of the insight we give here, you get to take to someone, Tell them where you're looking to grow in your life, and they get to help you be on a personalized journey to help you get to where you want to go because they've been through something similar. So, the reason why I get to showcase Tatiana here is because she is one of our guides. So, you could have this conversation here, sit, listen, and then you could book a call with her and get even deeper into what all of this looks like. If she really inspires you, if you love what she's saying, if you have this epiphany moment of like, oh my goodness, my mind has been running the show in a really negative way for a long time and I have no idea what to do about it, but I want to do something about it. Tatiana's your lady, right? So with that, a lot of you don't know how to do those calls or don't know how to get started with life guides, and that shows up in our surveys regularly. So I have a new webinar that I am doing once a month. It's not a consistent time or date yet. I'm kind of beta testing with you all. So if you provide feedback on those surveys, it'll be incredibly helpful. But it's called the Life Guides Experience, and it's all about what is Life Guides. So it'll be me and you and everyone else talking about what Life Guides is and giving you the introduction to who we are, what we do, and how we can support you even deeper. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat for you. So if you're interested in registering, learning a little bit deeper about what Life Guides is, even now doing 6 minutes of announcements is so much in a quick 30-minute conversation with Tatiana. So I could never have like the full conversation with you about who we are, what we do, and how it could benefit you. This webinar is what that is, and it's just a quick 15-minute hitter. I started Motivational Monday as a 15-minuter, and it merged into 30 minutes. And a lot of you say, I want longer sessions. I want to hear more. When it ends, I'm sad it ends. I feel you. I feel you. That's the reason why we have our larger events that happen once a month. I'll probably change the name of them next quarter. I'm still percolating on some things, but it's probably going to be called something along the lines of the deep dive, because Motivational Monday is very niche. Like, we have the niche topic of the main topic, which is leading in love this quarter, being a pioneer in love in all healthy and thriving relationships in your life. This month is self-love, next month is interpersonal relationships, and the month after that is professional relationships. And all of our events focus on that, but we have once a month a larger 60-minute event where we get deep into all of it. And I know it's short here. You get to get us 4 times a month on Motivational Monday and then one big chunk. So for those of you who want to be a part of that, I am dropping the link in the chat for you as well. And then we even have a deeper dive where we do live mentoring with you. So the live mentoring session has a fraction of the amount of people that Motivational Monday does. And that's kind of the point. Uh, Motivational Monday is meant for everyone. The deeper dive is meant for those who are really interested in focusing in and honing in on the work. And then the mentorship call is meant for those of you who are ready right now to take tangible action. You're ready to show up. You're ready to get vulnerable. You're ready to talk. Tatiana and I did last month's mentoring session, and we had a woman walk away being like, this was like group therapy, but even better. And, we're not therapists, we're not clinically certified or anything along those lines. We're literally humans doing our best and helping you do a little bit better. So, the mentoring link I just dropped in the chat too. If you're the type of person who's like, you know what, I like to grow, I like to show up, I like to get a little bit uncomfortable, I like to be tested, I like to yeah, I just like to evolve and like strip away these layers of whatever is not mine. Come to the mentoring session. So that's a lot of announcements. The back of my head, it feels like a lot whenever I'm like really in tune. Back here starts hurting. So that means we're going to have a great conversation for you today. So finally, we've had this other beautiful woman on the screen, and now I get to finally announce her. So I'm going to end the poll now. Thank you all for filling it out. If you didn't get to fill out all of it, actually, I'll give you until I'm done reading Tatiana's bio to finish it. If you're trying to get super detailed and you just want to get like super simple and sweet, please do that. Your feedback is really helpful. So we have our very own Tatiana here. She is a wellness practitioner who supports individuals in their emotional healing, self-love, and authentic expression through somatic practices, yoga, meditation, and vocal sound release. Her work emphasizes that wellness is not just about what we eat or how we move, but also about how we speak to ourselves. She helps people bring awareness to unconscious patterns like negative self talk, lack of self-boundaries, often rooted in childhood experiences, societal conditioning, and even ancestral imprints. Because the way we speak to ourselves is a form of nourishment too, and our bodies are always listening. So we have Tatiana here. I'm going to drop her profile in the chat. If you're interested and you're like, oh my God, that sounds so cool, I want to learn more about her, go check it out, book a call with her, dive deeper. But before we dive into the actual conversation, Tatiana, can you give us kind of like an overview of what the inner dialogue is, what self-boundaries are, just like an overview to the conversation we're about to have?
So, hello everyone first, and thank you for having me here. I'm super excited to share just my experience. That's all I can share. And although I can't see these beautiful faces, but thank you for being here. So personally, walking in a journey for many years of negative self-talk, which I didn't even know that I was negative self-talking in my mind all the time, and self-boundaries. It's been so beautiful the last few years where I realized that I was causing myself pain, anxiety, depression, all kind of things because I was mentally all the time chatting something like something was talking, and self boundaries too, because nobody told me, nobody teach us that we need to have self boundaries in order to have boundaries with others, and in order to have a well-being and healthy emotional and physical body. So it's been quite a long journey to first realize that, and then to learn to navigate in this world in a different way.
So beautiful. I feel like so
Yes.
many of us can relate to that. Drop 333 in the chat if you have noticed the negative self-talk in your mind before. And sometimes we don't notice it. Sometimes we have no clue, and it takes a conversation like this for us to start noticing what's happening in our minds. But yeah, a lot of you relate. And you can drop 444 in the chat if you're like, actually, I've never thought about it. I have no clue. I have never even had someone bring this perspective to my mind, because that's real too. And that's really important too. That moment, that like epiphany aha moment is super, super important. Yeah, so we have a lot of 333s. We have some 444s coming through. I love it. So, okay. I want to know who's actually speaking to us in our minds, and is it actually true?
All right. So really, I think for my own experience, 99.9999% of the time, it is not true and it's not our voice. It's the voice that
Mm,
we grew up hearing from parents, from childhood experiences, from caretakers, teachers, when you go to school and they told you you didn't do good enough, society, TV, commercials, and a big one that I was very unaware before, ancestral imprints. Believe it or not, we carry that within our body, within our physical body and DNA, and we bring those patterns generations after generations without even knowing who is speaking to us. So those are the voices that I personally have come to the realization that I was hearing all the time, and it was taking me to the wrong path. It was causing a lot of anxiety, depression, chronic pain, and I was majoring my value based on those voices. So I really had to, when I started practicing listening to those voices and realizing that they were not mine, meeting that in that place with a compassionate, you know, I start seeing the difference in my life, in my physical body, and really asking really asking the question, who's speaking now? Is that really me? Is that my value? Is that what I think about me? So it's been life changing. So that's what it's those voices come from early childhood and ancestral imprints most of the time.
mm. So we're
Yes.
hearing the voices of our parents. We're hearing the voices of our grandparents. We're hearing the voices of our teachers. And mind you, like we're all grown adults here. In a perfect world, in an ideal world, we are the own voices in our heads. But a lot of the times it's the voice that says, they don't like you. You can't do that. Why are you dreaming so big? Ew, you're not gonna
Mm.
make that happen. Why did you do that? They don't want to be your friend. You're ugly. Your voice doesn't
Mm.
sound good. No one will like you. And it's hard. It's even hard saying that. It's like
It is.
saying all this is literally painful because I know what it's like. And the one that I'm working on right now is the voice that tells me that the immediate perceptions, the immediate way that people perceive me is negative. If I forget to send an email, I think that someone despises me. When really, like, we're all human and I take care of those super important things always. And I have compassion for others. But why don't I assume that others have compassion for me?
Mhm.
Why do I see the greatness in others, but why do I assume that others don't see the greatness in me? And these are really important questions. And for those of you who are listening, we do have a Q&A at the end. So if we're saying something that like brings up a question and you're like, I would love to dive deeper into this part, there's a Q&A box in the bottom and you can put your question there and we'll be sure to answer it. So,
And one thing I forgot to, even siblings, because that's one thing I'm working right now, siblings. I grew up with an older sister,
mm,
and who I learned to be a woman is from my mother and my older sister. And now I'm learning what beauty means to me and what being a woman and what having relationships means to me, not what it meant to my mother and my sister.
mm.
So that's been a huge, and getting my own, recognizing my own values based on who I am right now.
That's a great reminder too. My brother was not kind to me. When we were growing up, I have a twin brother, and he was just in a household full of women. He was not pleased. But yeah, I've been thinking about that specifically. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for bringing that to the table.
yeah.
So I know a lot of us, I think like the easiest way to weave this in is I know a lot of us set goals for ourselves. Maybe let's go to like the analogy of New Year's, right? We realize that New Year's is coming upon us. And we're like, these are all the ways that I want to change and I want to do it this year and I'm going to go hard and I'm finally going to do it. And it's a challenge because we're seeing all of our flaws and we're wanting to change them immediately.
Mhm.
And it's also a challenge because a lot of us struggle keeping those promises to ourselves and struggle with those distractions that pull us away from these goals that we have and the places that we want to go. So my question to you, Tatiana, would be how do we keep those promises that we make to ourselves? And how do we stop letting those distractions take over when we're talking about that voice in our head?
So personally, is like really being compassionate and gentle to ourselves and setting up small goals. We cannot run a marathon and try to change everything, and some things don't need to be changed. We're just perfect as it is. But really setting up small goals, even in a day routine. For example, I don't do a whole yoga practice of 30 minutes or half an hour. I move my body through the day, and I know I have to make breaks through my day, get away from my computer, and take 5-15 minutes break, stretch my body, go for a walk, make sure I'm nurturing myself, make sure I'm taking care of myself. So I think small goals are very, very important. And things like even like in the morning, I do not check my phone before 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Even if I get an important text message, it's like, no, I'm mentally not ready for it. Right now, this is my little bubble, and I'm gonna take care of myself, light my candle, my incense, put my music, make my tea, and all of those commitments. And before it was really hard because I went around the phone like, let me help this friend, let me help my mom, let me help. It's like you can't help anybody. I gotta be grounded in my heart and nurture myself and respect myself boundaries so can others also, so I can put self boundaries with others as well.
Mm, so beautiful. Yeah, I think like if I look back today to the version of Kira that I was a year ago, um, I was really specific about how I wanted to feel. Um, and I was really specific about like some of the certain places where it was really important for me to grow. But in the past years where I was ruminating on like who I wanted to become and didn't put in the work and kept cycling through the same thing every year,
Mhm.
it's because I was like, I need to do this, I need to become this. And it was always from a place of judgment. And it was always from a place of not love. So now, even, this past year, I've been so much more compassionate with myself, and I've had to take the time to rewrite. And my mind still defaults to the I can't believe you didn't do that. Or like I've got big goals right now that I'm working towards, and it takes so much work on top of having work, having dogs, having a job. I already said that. Learning Spanish, a whole new language. And there are days when I don't get to everything I wanted to do. And I'll be in the shower reflecting on my day, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I didn't do that. And I'm like, you know what? That's the default, right? And you can let your default stay your default, or you can change it. But I'll be like, you know what? I'm really grateful with how much I did do today. And I always have tomorrow. And I'm doing a lot. I'm like at my capacity of what I can handle. So that means that in different days, it's going to fluctuate. Ooh, Ashley says, whose list is it that's in your head? I heard this once and I always ask myself. And this is another thing. My friend and I
Mm,
were listening to a Bon Iver song, and it goes, I can handle more than I can handle. And I thought it says, I can't handle more than I can handle. And my friend is like, no, I'm pretty sure it says, I can handle more than I can handle. So, where are the places that you're expecting yourself to do more than you actually have the capacity to do? Where are
yeah.
you stringing yourself out? Where are you forgetting that you're human? Where are you doing
Mhm.
way too much? Because that's coming from that voice in your head where you're never enough and you'll never do enough. So with that negative self-talk that we have, because for most of us, that's the default, and that's okay, because we can do something about it. But what do we do instead of reacting to that negative self-talk or trying to silence it?
Really coming from a place of compassion and, like you say, not pushing away or reacting or trying to silence, but meeting that voice with curiosity, with compassion, with awareness. And I'm not going to call it meditation, but really just slow down in that moment and ask the question, whose voice is this? What is this coming from? And it can be very uncomfortable sometimes because let me go get on the phone or do something. It's not. That's when a commitment to yourself comes. I'm going to stop here and listen to this, like listen to the radio, like let me, and you will with practice because this is not about fixing something, but it's a practice, a daily practice. And we get tuned into doing this every time more. You will literally, that's what happens to me. Like I go to a memory of childhood, or I remember, oh, my grandma used to do, or my teacher. That happened to me recently, just preparing for this. I was like trying to, do I have to make it perfect? I was like, I get so anxious, like I have to go lay down. I lay down and I remember a memory from childhood in my country, Ecuador, where they send you like do like huge papers of hours and hours and hours and hours and memorize. And I was like, that's not the way I do things anymore. So, and it can be very uncomfortable to sit with that, physically uncomfortable, emotionally, like let your emotions flow. You may want to cry or feel the anger, knowing that you can handle all of those emotions. You don't need anyone else to cry for you. You can cry for you. You can feel the anger in your body. It will flash through your body. And every time you practice, you hear your voice. Literally, I hear sometimes when I'm running the other day, last week, I was doing something and I stop and I hear the voice water. It's like, oh, I didn't drink enough water today. The other day, I every time it's more often, it's like, take a nap. I was like, oh, I need to rest. You will start listening to that loving and compassionate voice within. And it's just when I share this, it gives me goosebumps because it's so beautiful when you start flashing down the system, all of those voices, negative talk, and you start listening to your voice. And
Mm.
you start producing so much better. You start inspiring so much because you're not draining. You are actually moving your energy. So it's consistency. Practice that and you will get better every time.
And I have a question because I know how long my journey has been, and it's Q&A time. I don't have any questions in the Q&A chat, so I'm going to keep asking Tatiana questions. If a question does pop in, which we do want your questions, please let us know. So, how long have you been working? How long have you been aware of the negative self-talk and how long have you been working on it? Because I know there are people who are going to leave here today and they're going to notice a negative th self-thought and they're going to be upset that it didn't change immediately. And I want them to have a realistic perspective of what it looks like to actually be on this journey and not yet at the destination.
Yes. So when I actually realized that it was a negative self-talk, because before I was not aware. I thought it was just my mind. I don't know. It was probably like a year ago. I was like, no, there's voices in my head. And that was like a year ago. And then I didn't do nothing because I was so afraid to it. Literally afraid. And it took me a little while, maybe like the last 7 months, 8 months, where I was like, I'm gonna sit with this. I
Yeah.
start like I did learn from other people, watch videos, mentoring, because we need some guidance. When we are at the point that we don't know really, that's when we need to go for, reach for someone and get help from someone as well to guide us a little bit and see the things that we cannot see yet.
Beautiful. I just dropped Tatiana's profile in the chat. If you've liked this conversation and you feel like she's someone who could help you on your journey, please schedule a call with her. We have one question in the Q&A, and we're coming to an end in just a few short minutes, but we have Gabrielle who
Mhm.
asked, why should we not reject the negative self-talk?
Because they will knock at your door even harder and harder and harder. It's like putting the dust under the carpet. It's there and it's just going to build up, and it's going to show in many ways. It's going to show in your mental health, emotional, physiological, with pains and even disease, relationships, unhealthy relationships, passive aggressive behavior is there. It's going to knock, and it's going to knock harder and harder and harder.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we have some great comments in the chat. Kristen says that social media and YouTube videos helped her realize this about a year ago. And you guys,
Mhm.
your whole entire life on social media is algorithmed. If you want to start really focusing on this part of you, just start searching how to help with negative self-talk, how to talk nicer to myself, and you'll start seeing more and more and more of that.
Mhm.
And hearing people talk kindly to themselves is going to build a default inside of you that is kinder because most people in this world don't talk kindly to themselves. And it's unfortunate. Um, but when you do get that regular exposure, it does change things. And then having someone like Tatiana help you is so great. And Jenny says, I've been aware of the negative voice for a long time, but I was not aware that it was
Mhm.
from past trauma or not my own voice. I appreciate this so very much as I did not know how to shut her up. And the thing is, you don't have to shut her up. You need to like have a
Mhm.
little bit more compassion with yourself, but then your real voice will come in. And joining things like Motivational Monday, having a guide, hearing someone else's loving voice tell you great things every day will change you from the inside out. I have mentors who have said, if you don't believe in yourself today, believe in me that I will help you. Every day that you don't believe in yourself, know that I've got your back. So when there are days that I'm struggling, I'm like, okay, I hear my guide's voice in my head telling me the things that I don't default tell myself. And it's a gift. So we are at the end of our Motivational Monday. I know it's always short. We have a deeper dive this Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Pacific Time. I'll drop the chat again. We have our guide, Yvette. We're going to be talking about a much deeper dive into the overall topic this month of self-love. So, with that being said, invite your team members in your organization to Motivational Monday and our events. I know that they could benefit from it just as much as you can. There's a survey that pops up at the end of this where you can let me know how much you're loving what we're doing. You can also just leave Tatiana a love letter, and I send her everything that says her name. She gets a text right at the end of this. And then next week, our episode is the freedom that comes with forgiveness. So, the Motivational Monday link to register for that and all of our upcoming sessions for 2025 are in the chat. And it is 12 o'clock on the dot. Tatiana, do you have any final loving words for the brains that might not have them themselves?
Yes, I make this little note because it just came up to me last minute. I say setting self boundaries and listen to those negative self talk is an act of self love, self respect, and it will create a space for your needs, your values, and your well being. And this will lead to healthy relationships.
Thank you. Yes, healthy relationships start with a healthy relationship with yourself. If
Yes.
you think negatively about yourself, I promise you, you're unfortunately thinking negatively about others. So thank you all so much for being here. It's 12 o'clock on the dot. Happy Motivational Monday. We will see you on Wednesday of this week. You better be there. And I will see you next Monday. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.